Apologies for the delay. Just helping someone dismantle my daughter's swing, and they've just bought it. We've been upgraded. Right, so today is the 25th of April 2024, and I'm going to go through my levels today. I've got a few levels. Before we start, let's just go through news for today, see what could move the market. 8:30 we had GDP and initial jobless claims, and we saw this big reaction. And then we've got news at 10, so not 3 out of 3, but 2 out of 3, so it could move the market, so just be wary at 10 o'clock. And we have a few other minor news throughout the day, 11, 11:30, 12 and 1. Right, so starting off with the ES, we're looking at the 1 hour time frame, and let's just get a good view. So in fact, let's go into the SPY and go to the daily before we start. Yesterday we talked about the let's get my pen. We talked about these two candles pulling back, and it was on reducing volume, and we can see here we had reducing volume as it was pulling back, and then we're having a bit of a turnaround candle. If we go into the ES, this is classic BPA volume price analysis. Go back to ES and look at the daily on there. We can see it's broken the previous candle as a sell setup, so we pull back. We've on reduced volume, a little bit of extra volume on that hammer candle, which is a sign of weakness as well, and we're pushing down as of right now. So what I'm really looking for is probably some sort of continuation down. We put in a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. Potentially this is the lower high, and then looking for another lower low. Where could we end up? Potentially down here. We've got this area of confluence. Let's make that a bit smaller. So we've got this area of confluence here. You can see tops of candles around this area, and we've got bottoms of candles here. Let's just put that into an arrow. And so we can watch this area. It's a zone as well, so it's not a line we can watch, but it's an area. So we can watch this area. Coming to the left, you can see there's a volume in that area as well. So this entire area we can watch for a bounce. It's not the highest volume. The highest volume is when we get further down, but then we'd be coming into the 200 on the daily. So this is potentially where we could watch as we come down into 4800. We can watch that for a potential bounce, or if we are going to continue this daily trend, that's a potential target down here. Anyway, going into the hourly, let's find some levels for today. I've got an error coming up on my YouTube saying that this stream, hopefully it seems okay. If you have any problems, leave a comment and I can look into that. So we had this big reaction today. We dropped from 76 or 80 all the way down to 40. It was a 40-point drop. So this big drop down here. So we're looking for a, hard to find a bounce. I'm probably going to look for a reject. If we can come back up into this 50-70 area, or even the 50-80 area, we can look at that for rejection. I do have a level 50-90, and that's kind of a zone. It's going to be between 50-90 and 50-80 for rejection. Let's just zoom out and just see if I can fine tune that a bit. Looking at the more recent pivot, yeah, so I'm going to be watching 50-82. I'm going to have two potential plays on that area. First, I'm going to look for a rejection, or if we don't reject and we break over it, I'm looking for a break and retest long. It is going against the hourly trend, so break and retest against the trend I've not really tested much. I need to go back and back test. Similarly, you know, we've been doing a lot over the last few months. I've been doing quite successful in breaking tests, break and retest pre-market high when we're going up, and I've not really done any coming down because I've not tested how successful it is. But maybe I can go through and just back test all of these break and retest to see whether in a downtrend we get a better response on break and retests off the lows, pre-market low, than we would do if it goes high. Okay, so basically today I'm watching for a rejection at the pre-market high. Yesterday's low area just there. This area here. I'm also looking for the bounce I had in mind from yesterday, which is the bottom of here, tops of these pivots. We kind of broke straight through it. There was a little bit of a bounce in the pre-market, about $4 bounce, but I didn't want to get involved in it on that news sell-off. So the next area for a bounce I'm watching is 50.10, which is down at this level. We've got this weekly level at that area as well, so this red line. So it could potentially be a area we can bounce. Let's go back a bit and look at confluence. So we had bottoms of pivots. We had an area there where we kind of went sideways for a few days. So we can watch this area for a bounce if we can get down there today. And this area will be 50.10 down to 5,000. This area here, and obviously we've got 49.87, 49.90 for a bounce. So this is the area to watch if we can get down there for a bounce. So I'll be looking for confirmation. I'll be drawing the trend line in and waiting for it to break the trend line. So to recap my levels for today, I'll draw them in as well. I'm watching this area here is the main area I'm watching for, which will be 50.10 for bounce. I'm watching this area up here, and that will be 50.80 for a rejection, and that will be coming off of the 200 moving average. So if we come up into that there, I'll be looking for it to break back down. And we've got the point of control up here, so this area here, big volume, this red line coming into there. So this area is potentially area of resistance, so we can watch that area for a rejection as well. So a little bit earlier, 50.70 to 50.82. Last time we was there, let's go back to my pen. Last time we were there, we came up and we had this reaction down, and then we broke it. This time we just went straight through, so maybe we could get a similar reaction, but I do quite like the rejection off the pre-market, this area here around 50.70, but I'll watch all the way up to 50.80 for that rejection. And then finally I'll be looking for a rejection around 51.20 through to 51.30, this area up here. Okay, just going to move on to SPY. The hourly. So similar areas. I prefer SPY for a bounce, to be honest, at 498.50, this area here, only because we're closer to it in the pre-market and we've got better touches. Let's go back to ES. Yeah, it's hard. That's why I like that area there. Could we change it? Maybe. We're kind of at that area now. If we're going to match SPY, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Maybe that area. So going back, I'm going to make a change actually. So 50.40 to 50.38 area for a bounce, kind of where we are, high risk, and it kind of matches the SPY area, coming into that area as well for a bounce. But SPY is nicer than the Qs because it's a bit than the ES. But I still quite like it. It gets back down to 50.10. That's the area I'm really watching. So maybe I watch for a higher risk bounce at that point. Okay, so we're watching 498.50 on SPY, and obviously we've got this area down at the bottom at 494 to 495 for a bounce. Just put a trend line in there, and then break and retest of the pre-market high yesterday's low, and that'll be breaking above this 50, which is curving upwards now. So we can watch that area here, and that's at 503.30, 503 to 504 area of confluence as well, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, and then we've got the rejection at 507, 507.10, and it'll be off of the 200 moving average, and it's yesterday's high. So that's the areas I'm watching on SPY. Nasdaq. Okay, watch for the bounce at 17,293. Okay, one of my alerts triggered. I don't think that's right. I'll look at that in a second. We can look for a bounce down here, and then you've got the bounce also down at this point as well at 17,187. Or we can look for the higher risk will be the break and retest of pre-market high yesterday low area, because it's high risk because it's against the trend. It's also into resistance of the 200 moving average, this area of the supply, and also into the 50. So don't really like the break and retest long, but I like the rejection if we get to that point. That's it for that one. Q, same applies. We've got this bounce area down here, 414.16 to 414, this area. 417.89 for a bounce, and then we've got the 423.20 for the rejection or a break and retest. And it's got a little bit more room above, unlike Nasdaq. So if we do break above, we really want to get above yesterday's high, because that could act as resistance. So break and retest long, then you've got to target yesterday's high. SPX 5,000 levels come back into play again. So if we get back down to this 5,000 there, I've got my alert in place as well when it gets close, so I want to be aware of that. I'll be looking for a bounce on the ES and SPY. Where are we going to open? We kind of sold off. We're going to be opening pretty close to it, I'd imagine, down here. So that's the only level I'm really watching. And obviously you've got this area of demand down at the bottom at 49.67, 49.70 area. And obviously if we get over yesterday's high, use more recent areas, we get above that area there, 50.80, 50.79, we can look for a break and retest along, or use it as a rejection, as a double top down. Right, gold, putting in this bit of a flag pattern, which I quite like. Kind of this pattern. That's not a very good line, hang on. That pattern there. So we've kind of been going to the extremes. Up here, kind of selling off. So if we break out either side, we can watch for a play. So a break above 23.43, we can watch for a long, maybe a break and retest, and a break and retest off 23.22, we can watch for the short. Similar levels to what we already had yesterday, in fact exactly the same levels as yesterday. A short below here, probably a short below there, and a high over that. I think that dotted line, what was that for? Oh, I was just seeing whether it retains it. So, you know, levels are being saved. I'm not quite sure why. Sometimes I seem to be redrawing them, so let's make that yellow again. I changed the colour on purpose to see whether it comes out today. So we're watching this range still, and we're watching a break above or below. Oil, this is crude oil. You can see here again, levels again. I definitely put these levels in yesterday, and now they're not there. So let's draw it in. There. Kind of got a zone between there and there. This is our rejection area. We kind of rejected it once yesterday. So showing that these levels are working. So we can watch this area for rejection again, yesterday's high. And then we can look for two particular plays. If we get above yesterday's high, then we're above the, above the 200 moving average. So we can look for a long break and retest. Otherwise, if we break down, we've got this area of confluence there. So that's a major area of confluence. We've got tops of pivots, bottoms of pivots. So that's a bounce area. We can also, if we break below yesterday's low, pre-market low, which we're down already, we can, in fact, if we, here's a plan for crude oil. If we pull back into yesterday's low, we can look for a retest of it, and then the breakdown. And we've got this area here, 81. 81, which is a area we can watch for a potential. I'm not sure why it's doing that. 81. I stay there for potential target. So I quite like that actually. So I'm going to put alert in. If we come back up to we're coming back into it now actually. So look at this on the 5 minute. Look at that. We're potentially looking at a retest right now. So might be worth thinking about this. So keep an eye on that. So 82, we're kind of high risk is where we are right now. 82.45 rejection, back down. Okay, so that's where we are. RTY next. So we've got this bounce area, high risk bounce where we are right now, 1977. The next bounce area is 1961. And then I quite like the rejection up here, 2000 through to 2020. Look for a rejection. And we haven't confirmed the change of trend yet, but we have broken major pivots. If you draw in the trend line, so we've kind of been, look at that, almost perfectly running to that trend line, even right up here as well. Got tighter and tighter and tighter, and then boom, broke down. So it's looking pretty weak. So I quite like the retest up here for the short. That'd be around 2000, and that 2000 psychological number, and we can use yesterday's low as a potential area for the retest. So 1995 to 2000 for rejection. Let's put in my alert as well. So I like putting alerts in so that I don't have to keep watching it, and if it alerts I can come back and review it. YM, which is the Dow Jones. Looking pretty weak as well. Broken to 200, broken to 50, so now the bears are in control of the hourly. Let's find a level. We're kind of at a level, we're at a bounce level right now. Area confluence, so bottoms, tops, 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 bottoms, and potentially bottoms. If we break down, we can look for a break and retest short of this area. But I prefer it to pull back a bit into yesterday's low for it to break down. And that's it really. I think we can watch for a bounce. We're right in a bounce place, but we are below, we've closed below the 200 on the hourly as well, which is a bit of a bearish sign. Bitcoin is kind of looks like it's given up the ghost a bit, so it come down. We talked about this, came back up, came up to exactly the area I said it would come up to, right onto the 50 moving average, and it's kind of an area of confluence around there as well. You can see tops and bottoms, quite a busy area, and it rejected it perfectly, so good call that. The key is if we break this 58,900 level, so we've got a pivot there. We've broken that pivot already. We've got to get below these three pivots basically. If we can break down, then we're looking at 50,000 next target. I'm not sure when. I'm going to talk about the halving. I don't know when the halving event is or whether it's even happened yet. I have to look into that. If you know, please leave a comment below because I'll be interested. I'm not sure when it is. Bitcoin. That's it. Oh, this is my sector watch. Kind of keep an eye. I like to see where things are moving in the day. You can see, you know, and I've got them listed on the side, so you can see minute by minute which sector's in control. These are all the different ETFs. Yeah, yesterday you can see utilities were one of the worst performing, and IBIT, which is I think that's Bitcoin. The top performing was SOX and TAN. But then it's interesting to see where they are. So if you're looking for an entry on NASDAQ or QQQs, I have a quick look at this to see whether we can see QQQs, which I got there, is kind of looking weaker. And I think that's it really. That's my entire plan for today. I'm going to play the levels. Remember, if it's no level, there's no trade. And I do find it hard sometimes sticking to that rule. I'll get a bit excited. So just to confirm, we're right at a bounce point right now. High risk, pre-market low. Area of confluence, as you can see here, lots of touches, but it's high risk. But but I do quite like the bit of a pullback up into these low areas here for a rejection back down. So I'm watching, I got 50.82, but I'll be watching this region. Like I said, even though I've got the levels, I use it as a zone, kind of like that area there, that area here as well. So I'm not stuck on that level. I like to get as close to that level as possible. Usually the levels are pretty accurate. So just confirm 50.82 rejection. If it doesn't reject and we break out, I'm looking for a break and retest. But we are going into a bit of overhead resistance where we've got the 50. I like the rejection off of this trend line, like a retest. We've broken the trend line, come back and retest that area. 51.20 to 51.30 for a rejection. And then for bounces, we've got this high risk bounce area in right now, 50.40. But I do quite like this area around here, which is 50.10, even down to 5,000, because that's a psychological number. So kind of watching these two areas. Key today will be SPX. So wherever SPX opens, we can watch 5,000. I've got my alert in place as well for a potential bounce. So if SPX hits 5,000 before I get to my levels on ES or SPY, then I'll be looking for an entry, but I'll be waiting for confirmation. And if ES gets there first, I'll see how close we are. So we're down there and we're not quite at 5,000 on SPX. I'll see how close we are for a potential bounce and be watching very carefully. Okay, that's it. Up next will be the order flow, which looks a bit like nothing like that. That's just a job I'm doing. I better turn it off. It will be there next. I've not loaded my Ninja platform yet. As you can probably gather, I also do IT support for businesses and for my other businesses. So that was just me running an IT service for somebody. Ninja Trader. Okay, well it'll be up live in the next few minutes by past. Ninja. Hopefully try and get it live now if I can. Okay, so Ninja Trader's loading. I'll show you the order flow. Order flow, this is my main platform. So open up TeamViewer again. So just confirm we're right at that bounce point now. So 50.40 bounce, and hopefully that's it. Okay, so order flow will be live in a few seconds once I stop this video. Okay, thank you for watching.